Good morning, students. The topic which we are going to discuss today is composition scheme in goods and services taxes. We have already discussed about what is mean by GST, how it works. The one component in GST is composition scheme. The dealer who are in a business, if their turnover is more than 40 lakhs, then it is compulsion that they have to register themselves under GST. They called as a registered dealer. But there is number of formalities are there to complete all these to be registered and to pay the tax, because for a layman it is very difficult. So government is offering some other scheme, that is alternative scheme, that's called as a composition scheme to a particular person. Let me see what is meant by composition scheme. The composition scheme will be suitable only for, or otherwise it can be opted only by small businessman. So composition scheme will make it hassle free. It's very easy to pay the tax to the government, not required to fulfill all the formalities which is followed by registered dealer. It is beneficial to dealer who does not make B2B supplies, business to business supply who is doing no, he cannot opt for a composition scheme. He has to go for regular scheme like registered person. And this scheme is only optional. If a small businessman want to go to this scheme, they can go, or otherwise they can fall in an ordinary scheme. The shopkeepers, small traders and small scale manufacturer are best suited for this scheme. So it is apt only for a small businessman. To make the work very simple, they can apt this composition scheme. So let me see what are the advantages if you go for composition scheme. No, the first one, the very tedious job in normal GST. No, we have to file whatever return we have made. No, that we have to file. So actually there are 23 filings are there in 1 year for ordinary person. If you go under composition scheme, quarterly return only instead of monthly return. No need to go for monthly return. We can go for a quarterly return. Less complaints and more profit as compared to normal scheme for end consumers of sales. No detailed records to be kept. No, normally if you go under a normal scheme, no, we have to maintain the records, the return, what are the documents we prepared for a business, no, that we have to maintain for 6 years. But like that, there is no compulsion in composition scheme. No need to depend on your suppliers to file their returns. But there is a problem in composition scheme is that no, you cannot claim input tax credit. That's a great benefit of GST. Whatever output tax paying, no, from that already paid input tax is eligible for deduction, so that less amount of tax will be paid by the supplier. But this option, in once you go for composition option, you cannot claim input tax credit. So what is given here, no, we no need to depend on supplier, because we are paying the input tax to the supplier from whom we are purchasing the product. So no need to pay input tax. Competitive prices can be offered to the customer. So we can offer to the customer a competitive, we can reduce the prices, a competitive price we can offer to the customers. Eligibility condition to go under composition scheme, one has to fulfill these conditions. Aggregate turnover should be 75 lakhs or less in preceding financial year. So in a particular year, the total turnover should be less than 75 lakhs. Scheme available to supply of goods only. So the dealer who are in dealing goods, no, they can only go for composition scheme. Those are dealing in services, they cannot opt for composition scheme. Services not eligible for this scheme except restaurant services. Not eligible if a supplier is engaged in interstate supply of goods. Yes, only for intrastate, within a state. If we are dealing, your dealer is dealing within a state, no, then he can go for a composition scheme. Condition is the turnover, aggregate turnover in a year should be less than 75 lakhs. If you are dealing intrastate, within, that is interstate, one state to another state you are selling the goods, then you are not eligible to claim composition scheme. Automatically your composition scheme will be cancelled. We have in a ordinary scheme. Suppliers engaged in supplying goods through e-commerce operators not eligible. So any goods, any e-commerce operator through Amazon, Flipkart, like that e-commerce operator through which we are supplying the goods, then we have to go for an ordinary scheme. We cannot opt for composition scheme. Casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person cannot avail this composition scheme. So casual means he is that is not a regular dealer. No, he cannot go for a composition scheme. Rate of tax: 2% of turnover in case of manufacturer. A dealer or a manufacturer whose turnover is the tax which he has to pay. No, 2% on turnover. 5% of tax on turnover in case of a person who is dealing in restaurant services. 1% of turnover in case of other suppliers. So manufacturer means they have to pay 2% on their turnover as a GST to the government. If you are involving in restaurant service, 5% on the turnover has to be paid as a GST to the government, and 1% of turnover in case of other suppliers. Apart from this, any supply makes no goods only, not services. 1% GST has to pay. Registration: if you are going to opt for a composition scheme, then following condition to be fulfilled for registration: for a person registered under existing law migrating on the appointed day, intimation to the paid tax in the form of GST CMP 01. This form they have to fill. Details of stock held, how much stock he hold, that also he has to mention within 60 days of exercising the option, that in the form of CMP 03. For a fresh registration, now only you are first one, you are not going under ordinary scheme, directly you are going under composition scheme, then we have to fill a form GST REG 101. Switch over from normal scheme to composition scheme. Already you are in an ordinary scheme, now you are going for composition scheme. The registered person under GST shall intimate in form of GST CMP 02. This form they have to fill. Furnish a statement in a form of GST ITC 03 for details of ITC relating to inputs lying in stock, semi-finished goods and finished goods. Some other features: no input tax credit, no collection of taxes, bill of supply to be issued, composition taxable person not eligible to collect the tax, and supply should be written on the top of a bill supply. So these are the things we have to follow for opting for composition scheme. Thank you.